Greetings, my fellow nuts. It's Monday, and shit, is it cold. Like 30-something degrees. And yes, I can already hear some of y'all down in the comments. That's not that cold. I don't know what you're complaining about. But guys, I live in Texas, and we're not used to this shit. The last time it was this cold, the whole state shut down. Anyway, for those of you perhaps joining us for the first time, my name's Lindsay, aka Squirrely Girl, and I like to talk about men's and boys issues. And today's topic is, drumroll please, emotional intelligence. And y'all, I can already see all the guys sitting there rolling their eyes, but just bear with me, alright? I can almost guarantee this isn't going the way you think it is. The problem with this particular buzzword is what modern society, which is predominantly led by women, think is emotional intelligence and or emotional maturity, and what actually is emotional intelligence/maturity are two different things. In psychology, emotional intelligence is defined as the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and effectively express one's own emotions, as well as the capacity to effectively interact with others by understanding and managing theirs. Key characteristics of emotional intelligence are self-awareness, self-regulation or self-management, and social awareness. That said, in my 36 years of being a woman surrounded by other women, while we love to tell everyone we're all these things, as many men will tell you, we're really not. Why? Because as a collective, women seem to have confused showing more emotion or a wider range of them as being self-aware, when that is not always the case. Self-awareness is recognizing what you're feeling, being aware of your own emotional state, and, key word right there, and, recognizing how that emotional state impacts those around you both positively and negatively. In other words, it's not enough to just know you're angry or sad or frustrated or irritated. You also have to acknowledge how those feelings affect those around you. Case in point, say you're angry at your husband because he didn't do something. Okay, great. Now ask yourself, how's he likely to react if you express that anger without characteristic number 2, self-regulation? And see, this is the characteristic I see women struggle with most, and full disclosure, I myself have struggled with it too in the past because, guys, I am not perfect. Guys, on the other hand, are extremely good at this particular one. They might be angry, but at the same time, they know that anger is unlikely to accomplish anything positive or useful. So, unlike women, they will either channel that anger into something that is positive or useful, or more likely than not, they'll swallow it because they're self-aware enough to know that expressing that raw anger is unlikely to do anything good. Whenever I see women complaining about how the men in their lives don't show emotion, I always like to ask them if they're really sure they want them to. The majority of them say yes, but don't really mean it, because the moment an emotionally intelligent man does express his emotions, they either demonize him for not expressing it the way they think he should, and or attempt to shame him into apologizing for having said emotion in the first place, especially if that emotion is in response to something she did. And here's the thing about that. You don't get to dictate how someone else reacts and or feels about something you say or do. The only thing you can dictate is your own reaction to their reaction, and this is where, again, a lot of women fail miserably. If I say something that hurts my husband, even if I didn't mean to do it on purpose, and ladies, those of you out there who are saying and doing things to intentionally hurt your partners, shame on you. There is no excuse. Absolutely none. But I digress. If I say something and that something hurts Mr. Squirrely's feelings, I don't then get to tell him he's not allowed to be upset, and I especially don't get to manipulate or coerce him into apologizing for getting upset in the first place. Likewise, if I say something and either don't get the reaction I want or a reaction at all, I don't get then to demand that he give me one to my satisfaction. Which brings us to my last point, the final nail in the coffin, as it were, the ability to self-regulate. Ladies, out of all of the emotional maturity problems, this is the one we suck at the most. If and when we see something we don't like or that makes us feel a certain type of way, instead of containing ourselves, we have outbursts. Our man doesn't take out the trash when we tell him to, we scream. We come across a post on social media that disagrees with our worldview, we rant and rave and post a paragraph explaining why the other person is wrong and an idiot and all the bad things. A woman posts something on Facebook about how a father's love is no less than a mother's, and suddenly I'm inundated with messages from other women telling me they hope my husband leaves me or that my children get taken from me because I'm a pick-me who hates women and has internalized misogyny. Yeah, that happened. Honestly, all I see when women do this is my kid throwing a tantrum because I told them no. It's not a good look, and if anything, it only adds to the perception of women being immature, childlike, and unable to control themselves while being ruled by their emotions because, I don't know, Mercury's in retrograde. In conclusion, if we're going to ask for emotional intelligence from men, we need to be at least willing to reciprocate. And if we're not, then we need to let go of this idea that women are more emotionally intelligent than men, because clearly that is not the case. Anyway, that's it. That's all she wrote. I'm going to go make myself some tea now and maybe put on fuzzier, warmer socks. Go forth, my nuts. Do good, and I'll see y'all later. Hopefully later is warmer.